At ports of entry and the extended borders, Customs and Border Protection enjoys broad authority to search property that belongs to US citizens and other travelers. As things stand, CBP does not need a warrant to search the laptops, phones, or cameras belonging to people arriving in the United States. This is part of the long-standing exception to the Fourth Amendment, but is very worrying at a time when cell phones and laptops are ubiquitous among the adult population. In US v. Ramsey, then Justice Rehnquist, in his majority, summarized what's come to be called the border exception to the Fourth Amendment, writing that searches made at the border pursuant to the long-standing right of the sovereign to protect itself by stopping and examining persons and property crossing into this country are reasonable simply by virtue of the fact that they occur at the border should, by now, require no extended demonstration. He wrote that actually the ability of Border Patrol and those in customs to inspect parcels goes back all the way to the country's founding generation. In fact, the Congress that passed the Bill of Rights and sent it to the states also authorized the searches of vessels and ships in legislation. That's been a long-standing part of the United States jurisprudence, in fact, since the very beginning. In 2009, CBP's opinion was that they did not need reasonable suspicion or probable cause to search any electronic devices at the border or ports of entry. In 2018, they updated that slightly, saying that in order to forensically analyze a device, what they call an advanced search, to attach a device to external analysis devices requires reasonable suspicion, but it is still the case that for a so-called basic search, without attaching devices to other software, they do not need any suspicion at all. That continues to be the standard at the border, thanks to the border exception to the Fourth Amendment. In 2014, the US Supreme Court unanimously held that police need a warrant to search a cell phone belonging to an arrested person. But that holding did not get rid of the border exception to the Fourth Amendment. At the moment, there is a circuit split on the issue. The 11th Circuit has held that CBP do not need any suspicion at all to search electronic devices seized at the border. However, the 4th and 9th Circuits have held that CBP need at least reasonable suspicion before conducting a forensic analysis on electronic devices seized at the border. And that's a standard that CBP voluntarily enacted in their 2018 policy directive. Since that circuit split emerged, the 9th Circuit has had another opportunity to consider electronic device searches, and in August of 2019 held that all electronic device searches must be limited in scope to searches for digital contraband, such as child pornography. The best argument against allowing warrantless searches of cell phones at the border is that such searches are a massive violation of our privacy. They house tons of information about our work, our romantic lives, our family lives, our social lives, and although CBP says that they only conduct these searches in airplane mode, those kind of searches can nonetheless be highly intrusive. The best argument against the exception to the Fourth Amendment that we see at the border is that it oftentimes infringes on the rights of law-abiding Americans. The best argument for the exception to the Fourth Amendment is that there are certain interests that a state has when it deals with visitors from other countries. And that includes issues such as national security, so the smuggling of dangerous weapons, but also the smuggling in of contraband, whether that's certain goods like foods, but also illegal drugs, and of course humans who can be trafficked. The best argument in favor of warrantless searches of electronic devices is that because cell phones are so ubiquitous, they are used all the time for crimes, whether that's possession of child pornography or activities related to terrorism, other threats to national security, and that without access to electronic devices, it would make it much harder for the federal government to investigate those kind of crimes. The argument is that without these authorities, many criminals would slip through the nets, and that is something that CBP is very concerned about, and it's not a surprise in light of that they are defending the authority that they have to search not only within 100 miles, but also to conduct warrantless searches of devices at airports.